What's going on, guys? Welcome back to what seems like the first long form video in like years. The last time I made one of these videos was when I reacted to Quan's 3v1 from Cobra Kai. But we're going in a bit of a different direction. I just hit 2k subs on YouTube and I've already released an open collab which anyone can participate in, and I would love it if we get a lot of attention with that. Don't mind my headphones, by the way. They're my brother's. Mine broke, and my brother's are kind of mid. So, let's get on with what we're doing today. Today we are going to be reacting and breaking down Hannibal versus Jack Crawford. In my opinion, one of the best fight scenes in serial killer history. So, without further ado, let's get started. And quick disclaimer, I do martial arts. I do taekwondo and I'm a second Dan black belt. However, there is martial arts that is not taekwondo that is performed in this fight scene. So, even though I do taekwondo, it doesn't mean I don't have any knowledge of other martial arts. Obviously, I have extensive knowledge of boxing, Muay Thai, and karate. So, with that being said, let's get to analyzing. Okay, Hannibal's cooking, that's nice. Jack Crawford. Okay, first off, what I don't like here is that there is going to be a weapon involved. But that steak looks delicious. I know it's not steak. Eyeing each other down is very common in fight scenarios, so I like how it's already feeling realistic and feeling like this is going to be a big fight scene instead of actually like, Dexter, where he wins without any challenge, right? So, okay. We are getting to the tense moment. First off, very good reflexes from Hannibal there. If Crawford did get out his gun, then that wouldn't end well for Hannibal. See how the knife here is stuck in his hand. That is going to disable Crawford from doing much with that hand, which is pretty smart from Hannibal there. Now, knife combat, pretty realistic to see. I mean, a lot of people on the street carry knives, right? However, usually the best knives for combat tend to be hunting knives, butterfly knives, Swiss Army knives, or pocket knives. This is a good grade kitchen knife. I use these kind of knives when I cook my meals. But what I like here is that Hannibal is improvising, right? He is using a weapon that is available to him at this very moment. Though, knife throwing is very two-sided. On one hand, if you hit the target, it will damage them a lot. But if you don't, they can steal the weapon. Alright, good hop. Good slash there. I'm gonna do is actually tone down the volume so you guys can hear me. So that was a good slash there. But Hannibal is extremely agile, which I like to see. Fighters are meant to be quick on their feet. Okay, good swing. Alright, elbow to the arm. That is a lot of, I would say that could be Muay Thai there, but it's a martial art, right? It's a martial art technique. Elbows, we have elbows in Taekwondo even, right? Elbow to the arm there, it's it would hurt. I mean, you are injuring the in between the muscle and the bone, which is the main way to cause someone to bruise very fast on their arm. So I like that. Okay, kicking the gun under the table. Good strat from Hannibal there. It means Crawford can't use a long-range weapon. Okay, tackles. Alright, there's a lot of wrestling going on, right? And that's because when you're in a confined space, you can't be, throwing all these punches, right? You have to be working within your surroundings. So being up close and personal, pushing, shoving, almost like throwing, right, is very normal to see and is actually very realistic there. So basically, that little tackle there from Crawford was a really good technique, because he is hitting with the shoulder. He's not going head first. He is going with the shoulder, which is very nice to see. That'll hurt. A kettle to the face will hurt. Okay, throws Hannibal. Okay. They're exchanging blows. This little technique here can be considered Jiu-Jitsu, Hapkido. We even have these kind of hand movements in Taekwondo. Trapping the arm it can be very effective if you're in this close scenario where you can't move around as much. Trapping the arm means their arm won't be of any use, and you can hit with a bunch of hooks to the face, or throw them. You can stick your leg out and kind of drop them there. So I like to see that Hannibal is actually utilizing grabbing the arm or trapping the arm rather than grabbing. I like to see that. Chokehold. Good technique for the chokehold. Unlike Dexter with his little thing going like this, Crawford goes straight for what seems to be this lower area. So with throat strikes and throat holds, there's usually two areas where you can grab. Here and here. So up here is where your arteries are, here. So if you go like that, then not only will it damage the airways, but it'll cut off circulation much faster if you go up here. Down here is where your trachea is, and that'll do way more physical damage, or short-term damage, if you hit basically under the Adam's apple here. You can even crush the Adam's apple if you strike it properly. Alright, good catch. Chokehold. Okay, can we... I don't think we can... Yeah, okay, we can't really go back on this media player. Is there a better angle? Okay. Chokehold, I mean, I see he is going like this. That. It's an interesting technique. I mean, my preferred way of a chokehold is like this, where you have one arm trapped here, like this, so if they try pull out, you can resist with this other supporting arm. This is a supporting arm. That's why I never kind of just hold with one hand like this, right? I always go here because it's much more effective. Crawford is strong as fuck though, so that's why I'm not really critiquing his technique as much here. Okay, good throw. Ragdolling him. Okay. Hannibal using weaponry. This is good for a realistic scenario where someone's trying to kill you. Okay? Basically, what Hannibal is doing is improvising. And improvising is extremely important in a fight. If you get injured, can't use one hand, you're gonna have to improvise by trying to either fight with one hand, which is a death wish, or using weaponry or using something else that'll help you more. Hannibal using weaponry there to get himself out of that chokehold is really good, really smart of him, very tactical, as basically it provides an advantage in a hand-to-hand scenario. I mean, you have a weapon, it does more damage. Okay, he grabs the knife. He has, I call it an underhand grip. Now, underhand grips are much harder to defend against. Wait, was that an underhand grip? I think it was. No, never mind, it's a normal grip. Okay, normal grip is pretty easy to defend, and Hannibal there looks like he has a kitchen towel, which might not look like a good weapon, but it can be used to defend against weaponry pretty well. A little bit of backstory, I studied a bit of Sambo in Singapore. My uncle studies Sambo, right? So he taught me a little bit. And what I learned there was that trying to defend against a knife, you cannot do it, or like it is almost a death wish doing it with your hands. You have to have some kind of other weaponry to be able to control the arms. So that towel is a really smart move from Hannibal. Okay. See there? He catches the arm, and he does a knee to the inside of the elbow there. Knocks the weapon out of the hand. You can see the weapon go flying. Good block. Ooh. Okay, that was a good block from Hannibal. This can be a hinge block, but we'll accept it as a high block or an outside block. A high outside block, very effective against hooks. You can catch it in between, right here on the elbow, and he goes in with an overhand punch there. So far, it's hard to tell who's winning, which is realistic. It is realistic. It makes you want to predict. Fridge door, yeah, that's GG's there. If Crawford doesn't already have a broken nose, he probably broke his nose there. It looked like that would have hurt. Alright, taking off the tie. Good idea. When you have a thing around your neck, that can be used against you. Okay, I see that he used the tie to wrap around his hand, his injured hand. It is smart. It is a good idea because you're going to use that hand. He's gone, I think, yeah, boxing, right? He's gone straight for the two-hand, a double punch, right? Good guard there, by the way. Good guard. But to do that properly, you need both hands. So the fact that he wrapped his hand signals that it's actually going to be good. Okay, using the chopping board to block the knife. Good job. Okay. Rips it around. Obviously, if Hannibal continued gripping that, then that would break his wrist, probably. Okay. You can see there, he's going for kind of like a, say a backwards chokehold. That sounds weird. Sounds really weird. But you know what I'm trying to say. He's going to put Hannibal against his back and kind of choke him out from there. Or not. He's gonna flip him over like that. Getting body slammed like that, you don't see body slams happen in fights very much. But a body slam like that, that's gonna do some damage. You can see Hannibal is a bit dazed there. strike to the back of the head that can actually give you a concussion. Also looked like a really nice, strong hammer fist. Okay, Alright. So what I see here is that he grabs Hannibal, or he goes around Hannibal's neck with his own tie. Smart, because again, it's improvising weaponry, right? I've talked about this. Improvising weaponry is good. It is good, okay? I like how he does that. Okay, there we go. How we see him go over his back. This gives him more pulling leverage, right? You can pull down whilst keeping him on your back, meaning you get a tighter grip. See, Crawford is really trying there. Okay. I like what he did there. I like what Hannibal did there. Hannibal faked being injured to draw him in. Now what he did there was shove a glass shard in his neck. Dr. Mike would have a few words about that. But basically, the neck is a very vulnerable area for sharp objects, obviously. I am no doctor, but I can give medical info on this. That seems to be I wouldn't say the jugular, because it looks a little too behind the neck. But it will still make you lose a lot of blood. Yeah, you can see how Jack is escaping. They're trying to breathe. Actually, that does look a little like the jugular vein. Oh wait, jugular is this side, right? Carotid artery? It's something. It is something. Okay. Hannibal. Okay, so what I like about this scene especially, this is one of my favorite fight scenes in all of horror for one reason. It is realistic. It is realistic as hell. I love the realism in this, right? Hannibal showcases very good combat skill, and being able to fight on par with an FBI agent is very impressive. There are a few things that I would like to critique slightly, and it's that, obviously, confined space. You don't want to fight in a confined space. Obviously, this fight was started in the confined space, so you have a little bit of, I would say, you wouldn't have a choice, really, on where a fight starts. Another thing I would like to quickly point out is the fact that Crawford here is fighting with an injured hand. Now, I'm not sure which hand is his dominant, right? And that kind of matters because your dominant hand is your strongest hand, right? My dominant is my right. Same with my leg. Dominant is right leg. However, if he got injured in his dominant hand and was still able to put up that much of a fight, that is very, very impressive. Shows a lot of adaptability and improvisation. I think overall, this fight is approved by me. Approved by a certified martial artist. Okay, so final thoughts before we head off is that this scene is meant to be unrealistic. However, it ended up being realistic, right? Hannibal was actually struggling, which any being would do if they are put up against a trained fighter like Crawford. I like the improvisation with weaponry. I feel like that added an extra bit of realism, the fact that Hannibal used his environment to his advantage. If you want to see any other fight scene breakdowns, then please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And with that, thank you for the 2K subs. And let's get my channel monetized. Please, for the love of God. Thank you.